Okay, friends, we are on lesson 2 of chapter 11. We're going to be on page 651. Yesterday we talked about inches and how to measure inches. Today we're going to talk about feet and yards. So how much is a foot? Or more than 1 foot, we would say feet. But 1 foot is 12 inches. So think about your ruler. Your ruler is 1 foot. Okay, so up on top, I've added a picture of what a ruler or 1 foot is. And I'm going to write 1. Maybe I need a better color. Let's use that one. 1 foot. Okay, so the ruler is 1 foot or 12 inches. So 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Now up on top, we have a yardstick. And the reason that we call it a yardstick is because it is equal to 1 yard. Okay? I'm going to maybe do that over here. 1 yard. 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. 36 inches, if you want to think about it, is 3 rulers. So if I were to put 3 rulers right next to each other, they would equal 1 yard. Okay? So now let's look at our picture. And we're going to talk about what objects we could measure with an inch ruler and what objects we might want to measure with a yardstick. So let's look. We have a basketball, we have some shoes, we have this chair, the entrance or the 2 big doors. The exit sign is something we could measure. The window, a basketball hoop, even these risers or this bench that might be here. So let's draw an X on the objects that are too big to be measured with an inch ruler. So let me grab a new color. I'm going to grab blue. Okay, so what would I not want to measure with an inch ruler because they're too big? I don't want to measure a basketball hoop. That's way too big. I don't want to measure these doors either. That would be way too big. The chair, I could probably do it, but I'd rather use a yardstick. The window, definitely a yardstick. The bench or the table, definitely a yardstick. The shoes, however, I could measure those with a ruler, right? Okay, let's turn to page 652. Whoops, that's not 652. And let's do some problem solving. Okay, read number 8 with me. The length of Sydney's tennis racket is 2 rulers long. How many feet long is Sydney's tennis racket? Okay, let's highlight what we know. We know the length of Sydney's tennis racket is 2 rulers long. What are they asking us? They're asking us how many feet long is Sydney's tennis racket? Well, we have to remember how many feet are in a ruler. So if you remember, a ruler is 12 inches or 1 foot. Okay, and that's 1 ruler. So if I need to know how many 2 rulers are, if I know that a ruler is 1 foot, then 2 rulers is 2 feet. So how many feet long is Sydney's tennis racket? 2. Okay, let's look at number 9. Read it with me. Gabriella is 2 inches taller than a yard. How many inches tall is Gabriella? Okay, we have to remember what our yardstick was. Remember, our yardstick was 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. So what do we know about this problem? Let's go back and highlight. Gabriella is 2 inches taller than a yard. What are they asking us? They're asking us how many inches tall is Gabriella? Well, if I know how many inches are in a yard, and I do, it's 36, remember? I'm going to start with that. That's 1 yard. But Gabriella's 2 inches taller, so 2 inches more. So if I add 2 more to 36, I get 38. And I have 38 inches. Okay, let's look at 10 together. Read it with me again. The pool at the park is 18 feet wide. How many yardsticks would it take to measure the width of the pool? Okay, so for this one, you have to remember how many feet are in a yard, because they're asking us. Let's highlight what we know. We know that the pool at the park is 18 feet wide. What are they asking us? They're asking us how many yardsticks would it take to measure the width of the pool? All right, so the way that we're going to figure this out is we need to first figure out how many yards or how many feet are in a yardstick. We know that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard, right? So I'm going to pretend that I'm actually using yardsticks to get to 18. Once I've gotten to 18, I'm going to go back and count how many yardsticks I used. So if I was truly measuring this pool, here's my first yardstick. That's 3 feet, right? Not quite to 18, so I need another yardstick. Now I'm at 6 feet, but I need to get to 18. So let's add another yard. Okay, now I'm at 9 feet. I'm not going to stop until we get to 18. So let's add another yardstick. Now I'm at 12 feet. Not there yet. Let's add another yardstick, which means I add another 3 feet. And now I'm at 15. Each one of these, remember, is 3. I'm going to add another 3 feet or another yardstick, which now I'm going to add 15 plus 3, 18. That's what I was looking for, right? 18 feet. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to count how many yardsticks it took me to get there. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5, and here's 6. So it took me 6 yardsticks. Okay, so we're not going to worry about the hot problem. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys go ahead and do your homework after this. But here is what I want you to remember, because I know that probably you don't have a yardstick and maybe not a measuring tape. You might have a ruler. I'm hoping you have a ruler with you. But here's what's most important for you to get from this lesson. If an object is small, it is better to measure it in inches. So this pen, for example, we would want to measure this pen in inches. Okay, in fact, this pen is about 6 inches. Now there's some larger objects that you would want to measure in feet. So for example, this desk. This desk was about 2 feet. Now, some even larger objects we would want to measure in yards. For example, this football field is measured in yards. Okay? So when you're going about your homework, I want you just to estimate. If you don't have a ruler, if you don't have some sort of measuring tool, I want you to, at the very least, estimate what those objects might be. If you can measure them, even better, okay? But still do the estimating part. That you can do whether you have a measuring tool or not. Okay, turn with me to page 653, the On Your Own, and let's see if we cannot estimate. I want you guys to estimate on your own as well. You don't feel like you have to write the exact same number that I write, because I might be completely wrong. You might be closer in your estimate than mine. So let's look at a chair first, number 3, right up here. And it's asking us to estimate in feet. Now remember, 1 foot is the same as 12 inches, which is 1 ruler. So how many rulers tall do you think this chair might be? I am going to estimate that my chair is about 2 feet. Okay. Now let's think about our calendar at school. Is your calendar at school, and we're also measuring this one in feet. We're estimating first in feet. So how many rulers tall, or how many feet tall do you think your school calendar would be? I'm going to say 1 foot. I think maybe 2 foot as well. 2 rulers, right? Okay, now let's look at a bookshelf. Now you might have this bookshelf at home or something like it. I went ahead and I'm going to estimate our shelves at school. So I don't know if you remember how tall those were, but you can use the ones that are at home. That's fine. I'm going to estimate that it's about 3 feet tall, okay? Just a reminder that 1 foot is the same as 1 ruler, which is 12 inches. All right, the filing cabinet for number 6. Now in this one, they're going across. They're going this way. So I'm gonna estimate that that's probably about 1 foot or 12 inches. Okay, number 7. That's a poster that you might have on your wall. I use the one in our classroom. I'm going to estimate that that one is about 1 yard. Okay, so now we've switched. We're no longer doing feet. Now we're estimating in yards. Remember that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So imagine 3 rulers is equal to 1 yard. Okay? Now you might not have a yardstick at home. That's okay. I went around and I took pictures of the things that I measured so that you can see what it looks like, what the yardstick or what the rulers look like next to these objects. Okay, so I took a yardstick and I put it against one of our chairs, and if you can see in the picture, this is where it ended, but here's my yardstick. The end of the yardstick is actually way up here. So if this is the whole yardstick, remember, is 3 feet. I estimated that the chair was around 2 feet. So if you estimated 2 feet, we were right. So write a 2 right in there. Okay, what about our calendar? Okay, there's our school calendar. There's the yardstick. I actually needed more than 1 yardstick. Remember, 1 yardstick is 3 feet. So I estimated that it was about 2 feet. And in fact, it was almost 4 feet. But it was at least 3 feet. Okay, let's look at a bookshelf. Okay, here's our bookshelf. There's our yardstick. I thought it was going to be 3 feet, which would have been the size of 1 yardstick. It was not quite 3 feet. So my estimate was not quite right. It's more like 2 feet. Okay, now let's look at our filing cabinet. Okay, there's our filing cabinet. I estimated it would be about 1 foot, and it was about 1 foot. There's 1 ruler down there from the beginning to the end. It's just a little bit longer than 1 foot. So I'm going to put a 1 right there. All right, our last one is our measurement of the poster. Okay, there's the poster in our classroom. I estimated that it would be 1 yard. You can see the yardstick right here from beginning to end. And our poster was 1 yard. Okay, let's flip to page 654. There we go. Okay, let me straighten that out. So you can measure things with either in feet or in yards. So up at the top, remember, that's what we talked about and I showed you the picture. A foot is equal to 12 inches, which is a ruler. So let's look right over here on this bookshelf or this filing cabinet. They used 1, 2, 3 rulers. Or on the other side, you could see 1 yardstick. What's easier? The yardstick, right? So we'd want to measure something like this with a yardstick. We could do it with rulers, but trying to make that happen is just too hard when we could just grab a yardstick and measure it, okay? A yardstick, remember, is 36 inches. This is 36 inches. Or 3 rulers, right? So if I added 12 inches plus 12 inches plus 12 inches, I would get 36 inches. But I already know that 3 rulers equals 36 inches because there are 3 feet. So right over here, 3 feet in 1 yard. Remember I said 1 ruler is equal to 1 foot. So if I use 3 rulers, that means I used 3 feet. Okay, let's look at our objects. Number 1, we're going to estimate the same thing that we did with inches yesterday. We're going to do with feet and yards today. So if I were to estimate how tall a desk would be, they want us to estimate in feet. So we're thinking about the size of a ruler is 1 foot. So I'm going to guess, remember an estimate is your best guess. I'm going to guess or estimate that my desk is about 3 feet. Okay, in a minute we're going to go back and measure. So what about a desk? So for our desk, if you notice, they changed the measurement. We measured or we estimated in feet for the desk. Now this bigger desk, this is a student desk, now I have a teacher desk, they would like me to estimate in yards. So remember, 3 feet equals 1 yard. I'm going to guess that the desks are about the same height. So if I thought that the student desk was 3 feet, that would mean that the teacher desk is 1 yard. I'm going to write a 1 right there. Remember that 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. All right, so now I went around the classroom and I measured desks. So I found out that the student desk is not quite 3 feet. In fact, it was 27 inches. So for this one, the desk measured about 2 feet. All right, what about the teacher desk? Well, you guys know I don't have an actual teacher desk in the classroom. So I measured my table that you guys usually sit at. Hey, guess what? It was exactly the same. So was it 1 yard? Nope. Because remember, this is a yardstick and my table didn't go all the way up. It was 27 inches. So it wasn't even about 1 yard. So, oops, 0 yards.